Good morning, everybody. It's tea time, bitches. Yes. Today's topic is special needs children. I'm going to try my best to be very, very calm, cool, and collective because bringing negative energy won't come across to people who need to hear certain things. Yes, I am a mother of a child who has or had special needs. And what I mean by that is his school, when he was 20 months, um, diagnosed him as autistic. It wasn't that I was in denial, but I did not believe that. So I fought the Board of Education and for them to, take off that label. And then I got him tested, and they didn't find anything. I'm guessing when there is autism, they find something. He continued to see neurologist specialists every 6 months, and she did not feel as though he was autistic. Though I was uneducated about all of my rights and all of the things that I could do, and this, that, and the third. I was comfortable with the support that he was getting from a District 75 school, which is a school for special need kids. So I kind of like went along with things, but I was very involved and very open and optimistic about anything. And I started to do a lot of research as he got a little older. He still wasn't talking. My son did not talk until 7. Um, And finally, in fourth grade, I just felt like I was teaching him a lot of things that other kids in his age group were learning in regular public schools, and he was able to do the work academically. However, he was not able to speak. So, or his speech impairment was very delayed, and comprehension skills. So a lot of kids, once they have a speech impairment, their cognitive skills are delayed as well. So in his case, he started to talk at 7, and I don't know. I was probably around the fourth grade or probably a little bit before then. But anyway, at this age now, he is excelling. He is still in special ed because we have to slowly mainstream him into a general education population class. Um, he still struggles a little bit with cognitive skills only because literally there's a gap in his learning skills because he went from a District 75 schools who they weren't teaching him based on the way that public schools teach the kids. So there was a gap in his learning. So, and there still is a gap that I'm helping to close, and all of the teachers and the staff, everybody knows, what he needs, and he have to do a lot of extra stuff. All of that to say is, he also used to be a hyper kid. And what I mean by hyper, he just wouldn't sit down. So it was a sensory issue. Okay, for those who don't understand, some kids who may bounce around all the time can't sit down on their butt, like literally. Okay, not just regular normal kids who just like to be all over the place. I'm talking about kids where there's an issue. You can tell that this is more than just I don't want to sit down. This is more like I really can't sit down. Okay. And so we did. It was well, I learned his OT therapist, which is an occupational therapist. We did different things: sitting on a pillow, massaging the temples and the bottom of his feet, and everything. Literally, I worked so hard to get him where he is today. He no longer has any little weird things that he does because it was really like learned behavior from the other kids that he did go to school with in a District 75 setting. He used to bang his chin, but that was also for sensory input because he wasn't talking. So there's a lot of things that you can research or we could talk about, but I'm gonna try to shorten it up a bit and get to the point of why I'm really bringing this up. I was definitely gonna do you know a video, tea time video about autism or special needs of the But today, I know I really had to. So, it's not to point anybody out. But basically, I saw on my timeline a man who's a very intelligent man, but he uses words very bad. And that's just my opinion. I mean, he used a emoji. He called women who medicated their children assholes, and he said they were lazy. And he also started off with saying they were pathetic. And I took very much of offense to that, even though I chose not to medicate my kids. A lot of other friends would know that I've spoken to a lot of other women, parents with kids who might have been a little hyper or whatever their situation was. They came to me because I shared my story, so they thought that I might have some information for them, which I did. So he goes on a rant and says basically that, people need to not medicate their kids and figure out what it is that they need and do this and do that. So I don't need to really go into too much more about what he said. I'm not trying to shame you, sir, if you happen to come across this video. No, not whatsoever. I'm really trying to educate. So I hope that you do watch this video so that you could be a little bit more educated. This video would probably be hours and hours long if I could get into every situation. But I'm going to say this. The parents that I've spoken to, that I come in contact with, I've always been at my son's schools, a lot of people, these women work. I am like the only woman that I know with a child with special needs that doesn't work. Okay? And I had just extra time on my hand to do more. And coming from a black man, a man. Now, I'm not saying that men don't have the right to voice their opinion about kids, their children, or about, whatever. But I feel as though, for the most part, a lot of these women, okay, they don't have a man in the home. A lot of men, they don't stick around for their special needs kids. I'm just going to put that out there. Now, I'm sure a lot do. I'm just saying from what I've seen. And in my opinion, my doctor told me and my husband when we went to the doctor's appointment before we found out I was pregnant, that he told both of us, like, men don't usually stick around. My husband was like, I'm sticking around. I'm just saying, these are like statistical things that I don't really like to hold, up to the world. But it is what it is. So for a man to say this, to me, it was like overwhelmingly like a wow. How do you get to say that when you don't know what these women are going through? So as I said, the women that I've spoken to, most of the women that I know of, I talk to all types of staff members in schools, in all my son's schools, okay? And a lot of the women are single, or the dad is not in the picture, or whatever, right? And my husband was in denial. So I just gotta still know about, Ed, he worked from 10 to 10. So, okay? And so, my point in saying all this is that those comments were very, very offensive, okay? Because they're not true. And I had said on his post, I hope that he does have a special need child. He's talking from experience and not just talking out his ass. Okay? That's first of all. Second of all, who are we to say how can you say every woman that has a child that medicates her child is lazy? Let me tell you what usually happens, especially for some women that I've spoken to. These women work, they have other children, and a lot of these daycares and regular public schools, which I was informed, okay, and they told me, well, if you try to put him in the public schools, I had to put him in the public school myself. I took him out of District 75 school. They was totally against it. We don't advise it. And I took him out, and they said, well, they might not want to deal and da-da-da-da-da. Listen, I'm not going through all of that. But over time, with all of the therapy that we use, like I said, a massaging prong, a three massaging prong, where we massage the temples, massage the shoulders, we massage the bottom of the feet. It calms them down. Yes, I had the time to do the research. Not everybody will be able to do so. However, before this video cuts off, I wanted to say that a lot of women, they don't know what to do. They only have a small amount of options. They need someone to care for the child. People are complaining about how, you know, hyper the child is. And, you know, they don't know what to do. Also, it's like we're damned if we do or we're damned if we don't. Because I know many of us, okay, we are on a train or in the public and we see a parent who don't seem to have total control of their child. They're just talking very low, they're talking very soft, and we're like, why don't you just hit the fuck kid? But then now, if you take that same situation and the mother is beating that child because she like, sit your ass the fuck down, the child is screaming and crying, still being hyper and crazy, then we looking at her like, oh, she abusing that child. So, I just wanted to send this message out. If you do not have a child with special needs, please have a little empathy, do some research, ask a question, or mind your business.